What's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking in the Khaliis Take. You know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell just so you can get the newest and the bonus content first. But hey, let's just go ahead and jump right in. Now, this was a topic that came up in the last offseason, and I thought it was an interesting, pick if the Clippers were able to acquire this guy. And it's definitely going to be an interesting offseason for the Clippers this year because they definitely have some picks like this on the table possibly, but it depends on what they want to do or what they want to give up to get certain players. And Bradley Beal, to me, would be an interesting pickup for the Clippers, not just because they would have a big three, but the fact that he averages like 23 points a game and like 6 assists also. I mean, that would be a huge pickup in regards to not only having more depth, but having somebody who can share the ball a little bit as well, who's kind of grown his game over time. Because when he first came in the league, it wasn't like that. And there's some speculation on sites and that you can go and read and see where the Bradley Beal conversation is coming up again. Now, of course, he would just make them even more dynamic than what they are. I mean, that you want to talk about a third option. If that was the Clippers' third option, they would definitely win a championship, and no doubt. I mean, they would basically walk to the championship if they got somebody like him. But I mean, of course, there's channels and loops you got to go through to get certain players like that. And sometimes it takes a lot of what you have, or you take a lot away from what you have just to acquire a player like him. Now, I'm not saying he's not worth it, because he definitely would be. But, I've just said the Clippers definitely just need a point guard. You see what I'm saying? A point guard who's solid, who understands his role, plays it to perfection, and not really looking to be a score first guy. And that's all the Clippers really need, maybe with the additional big man to have some more depth in the center position. Other than that, they really have everything they need. And me personally, I don't really feel like they should have to go out and look for anything heavy or big time like a Bradley Beal. Now, of course, if something like that has just so happened to fall in their lap, basically, well, then that's different. You know what I'm saying? If Bradley Beal left the Washington Wizards and requested out and then went to the Clippers just to go there, to try to win a championship or something on his own, well, then that's a lot different than making trades and losing a lot of your depth for a player like him, because you're going to have to give up, something to get a Bradley Beal. It's no doubt about it. Like I said, the man averaged 23 points a game, averaged 6.6 assists this past season. You're going to have to give up something to get somebody like Bradley Beal. I mean, it's not going to be something like, Amir Coffey and, let's say, Brandon Boston Jr. It's going to have to be a lot more than that. You see what I'm saying? It's going to have to be something like maybe Terrence Mann, a Luke Kennard, maybe a future pick if the Clippers had any, or maybe like somebody like Luke Kennard, Terrence Mann, and maybe I'm almost willing to say maybe a Reggie Jackson. It would be somebody like along those lines to get somebody like him, because in most people's minds he's a max contract type player, and Bradley Beal is definitely a big time scorer, big time player, can knock down big time shots. He definitely is a fearless guy on the court, and he can definitely put up a lot of points. I've seen him score a lot, and he's had a lot of huge games scoring. They didn't always amount to winning, because the Wizards they're really not a staple team in regards to winning. But I mean, Bradley Beal is the bright spot that they do have, maybe along with Kyle Kuzma too, now that he's there. But like I said, the Clippers don't really need to do much. If they just pretty much stay within their element, find a decent point guard or something like that, or maybe, like I said, a big man is always good to have. I know a lot of people are talking about, Rudy Gobert as a possible option. There's some others out there, too, Dwight Howard, a few others, JaVale McGee, people like that. So, I mean, they have some big man options out there. I don't know if Rudy Gobert would be what the Clippers would need. I'm not a big Rudy Gobert fan, but I mean, of course, if you have an opportunity to get somebody like him and don't give up much to get him, then you take that, you know what I'm saying? You take that opportunity. I mean, that's kind of common sense, but I'm personally not a big fan of his, but I definitely see, it would definitely make them better defensively. So I mean, the Clippers to get a player like him, if it doesn't take much, you definitely take that opportunity, which is my point. But like I said, whatever the Clippers decide to do, I really don't care, as long as they don't give up their core players. And there's certain players on this team that I've talked about on this channel many times over the last year or two that they don't need to give up. And like I said, if you give up some of your core players, you're losing culture in your locker room, you're losing chemistry, and you're losing somebody that has value to what the way Ty Lue has things set. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, to me, the Clippers have a chance to do something they never had before. They never had an opportunity to do, which is win a championship. Kawhi's going to come back healthy. PG will be back healthy. The whole team will be back healthy. Hopefully they stay that way during the whole season. But, they have a chance to do something really good. And if you break up too much of a good thing of what they have just to add a piece to experiment, you could really mess up the chemistry. So, I mean, I see a lot of these reports, and I find a lot of these reports very interesting. And like I said, a lot of them sound very intriguing to me, and as well as to you as well, maybe. But like I said, whatever they do, I don't care what they do or what move they make. I just don't want them to give up too much to get it, because really they could just sell themselves based off of what they have. Any pitch that they would come at any player with, and and try to invite them to LA, it would be very, very fruitful, because only thing they have to say is like, hey, if you're a star player or whatever the case may be, you're out of your contract, you can walk, come to us. We got Kawhi and PG here. We're going to be healthy, and we're built to win a championship now. That's the most attractive thing about the Clippers right now. It's really not even about the money, the contract, and all that. Now, of course, all that comes into play because it is business over everything. Of course, we have to definitely understand that. But at the same time, the Clippers are the most attractive team in the NBA. They shouldn't have no problems luring anybody to come to that team. Not with all the players that they have, the good role players, the superstars, the head coach. I mean, being in LA as well, I mean, the attraction is there. And like I said, they're a better team than the Lakers, even though a lot of Lakers fans still don't want to admit that. I mean, the Clippers beat you 4 straight times last year without Kawhi Leonard. I mean, that has to say something. And then, hell, when Kawhi Leonard was there, the last 4 years since Kawhi Leonard's been there, the Clippers have pretty much owned the Lakers. I mean, they have. I mean, that's just facts. I mean, a lot of people sit there and talk about, LeBron versus Kawhi in a 7-game series with the Lakers and Clippers. They were talking about that a couple years ago, but really they shouldn't even talk about that, because the Clippers would win easily, probably, because the Clippers really just have the Lakers number. The Lakers have not beat the Clippers consistently in years. I mean, I can almost date back to when the Clippers had Blake Griffin. I mean, it wasn't too often they were beating them then. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's the Clippers really have owned the Lakers for several years now, just going against head to head. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, really, the Clippers just have the mental advantage. And like I said, they're the tougher, grittier team, you know what I'm saying, between the two. The Lakers will roll out the red carpet type team. And sometimes, like I said, unless you got Kobe Bryant or somebody like that, then it'd be different. But they don't have a killer like that. And like I said, LeBron is not who he used to be. AD and all that stuff, it's just a mess over there in Lakerland. But my point is this, the Clippers don't have to add much to what they have. They're an attractive team already just because of what they have on their roster. And what you saw this team do last year without their superstar players let you know this team is built to win a championship. No doubt about it. So Phoenix and all them teams that you see right now playing in the Western Conference, they better keep an eye over their shoulder, because if this team stays healthy, they're going to run through the West. I mean, I can honestly say, what we saw a couple years ago, the Clippers being down 0-2 in every series, and they still made it to the conference finals without Kawhi Leonard, being down 0-2 in every series. That just goes to show you how deep this team is. So, I mean, it's like when they really want to turn it on and turn it up, if they're healthy, nobody in the West is beating them. I mean, not unless they just literally beat themselves. That's the only way. So, with that being said, like I said, if they have a chance to get a big name like a Bradley Beal or somebody like that, of course you take it. You don't hesitate on a superstar player, or whatever caliber type player you want to look at him as. I look at Bradley Beal as a star type player. I don't look at him as a superstar, but he's definitely a star player in the league, all-star, no doubt about it, and he's definitely big time, you know what I'm saying? But as I said before, if you have an opportunity to get any player without giving up much to get him, I'm all for that. But the Clippers better not give up too much depth depth for any player out there. I don't care who it is, because like I said, you already have chemistry. You already have a built roster. You already have, continuity in your roster. Even your young guys, like I said, Brandon Boston Jr. and, Amir Coffey, those guys understand the process. Those guys have had big games for the Clippers this past season. So they're already in contention to know what it's like to play under Ty Lue, and they're ready to go out there and make a name for themselves anytime they step on the floor. And like I said, the way they're built, they don't really need to add anybody else significant to their roster, because their two significant players are good enough. Your two significant players are two-way players. Kawhi is the best two-way player in the NBA, no doubt. To me, he's the best player in the NBA. But in most people's eyes, he's a top 5 player when healthy. Paul George is a great two-way player in the league. He's not the Paul George of Indiana, but he's still Paul George, and he still can put up big numbers. So this is what I'm saying. You got dynamics already. You don't really need to add another dynamic piece to try to fit in, and now you're trying to play with a big three and somebody has to sacrifice their scoring and all that. I mean, it works at times, but then again, a lot of times there is failures with those too. I mean, look at Miami Heat. The first year they were together, they lost to the Dallas Mavericks in the finals against a lone superstar in Dirk Nowitzki. Big threes don't always work right away. So, I mean, that's my thing. They don't need to go after nobody extravagant. They already got what they need. Just add a point guard, somebody that's pass first, not really looking to score too much, but knock down shots when needed, and maybe a big man so you can keep that depth in the center position, maybe possibly due to injury, or just having that extra body there who can come in and give a different dynamic in that position. So that's really all the Clippers need. Stick to the plan, execute the plan, go in the next season with everything that you have and everybody being there. And then let's see how the West is going to shape up. Let's see how the NBA is playing against the Clippers every single night, with Kawhi being healthy and motivated, PG being back, Reggie being there. You still got Zoo. They still might have Marcus Morris. Everybody's playing their natural position with maybe an added point guard who can go in there and distribute the offense and get everybody aligned the way it's supposed to be. Championship team. So really, there's no need to look any elsewhere. Just go with what you have and see where it takes you going in the next season. But hey, that's my take on everything. Check out my other videos if you haven't. And hey, Khaliis out.